Oh, some cool things I have for us this week. So, starting the first headline that we have comes from Deadline, and it states Debra Lee, former BET Network CEO, launches new search firm to boost diversity on corporate boards. The new initiative is called Monarchs Collective, which identifies and onboards extraordinary black talent and women to executive ranks and boards of directors. They equip diverse talent with the leadership skills and savvy required to flourish in boardrooms and thrive in senior leadership roles. They also connect black talented women with each other for growth opportunities. Now, I found this interesting because I didn't honestly understand or didn't get not really the purpose, but the prestige of sitting on a board and how great that is. So I had to look into see, like, what does it mean to be a board member and what kind of benefits will you get from that and why should people want to be board members? And so if you are on a board, it helps to create wealth, and as a director, you usually receive stock in the company. Lee states that if you serve for a long time, you can accumulate a lot of stock. She says she's all about accumulating wealth in the black community, and it's not about salary, it's about creating wealth. And I thought that was a very powerful statement that she made. And according to Forbes, sitting on a board also adds a considerable amount of prestige and credibility to your name, with potential investors, business partners, or even future employers viewing you as being someone who isn't afraid to take new responsibilities and seek new challenges. Ultimately, it helps to positively shape your corporate image and reputation, which can open up doors that previously may have been shut. Debra Lee has been a board member of over 20 years and stated that sitting on a board has helped her a lot in her career, especially in becoming a CEO. She's sat on boards such as for Kodak, Revlon, and is now a director at Warner Media's parent company, AT&T, Burberry, Marriott, Procter & Gamble. So I wanted to highlight this because it also reminded me of kind of the initiative that what Ava DuVernay is currently doing with the Ray Crew, how we reported about that a week or so ago. And so Debra Lee is creating this initiative so that people within these executive level positions who want to be a part of the Black Lives Matter movement and want to figure out how to find diverse, talented people within their community boards and black women, how people always say, we don't know where to find them, we don't know where they are, and how Debra Lee is combining or coming together to create this initiative to be able to provide the resources for them to say, oh, here's a pool of people that you can choose from that you can have sit on a board. Because she said at this point she is getting tons of offers to sit on boards, and she doesn't understand because she's getting up in age as to where she feels that these opportunities should go to someone else. So she's opening the door and creating this new initiative. So what are your thoughts on this, Brittany?
I think that's a good look. I mean, in addition to wealth, like you were saying, being a board member for any nonprofit or even for-profit company is not only going to help you to generate wealth, right? Because you become a stakeholder, but because you are a stakeholder in that company, you also have significant influence and power. And a lot of the presidents and CEOs and what have you of these companies answer to the board. So I think it's a great look. And like we've always said on this show, it's like we can promote diversity. We can, shout from the rooftops how much it's important to have, people frontline, below the line, crew members. But we also need people in these executive roles, and we also need them in the boardroom. So we need them at every facet, every point of this thing, right? So it's a good look.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. And this is a great way to get that started. So speaking of getting things started and putting your money where your mouth is, basically, the next headline that I have comes from Afrotech, and it states that YouTube unveils its hashtag YouTube Black Voices Grant Recipients to celebrate today's initiative's creator. So, according to this announcement, this fund was used to invest in Its intention is to present fresh narratives that emphasize the intelligent power, authenticity, dignity, and joy of Black voices, as well as educate audience about racial justice. Black creators for this initiative have been selected from the U.S., United Kingdom, Brazil, and Africa. Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa, to be specific, all consisting of musicians, beauty entrepreneurs, comedians, activists, poets, personal trainers, teachers, parents, photographers, and more. The idea behind the grant is to provide creators with additional resources to help grow their voices on YouTube, on their YouTube channel through training workshops, partner support, and of course funding. Some of the YouTubers that I am familiar with that are part of the 2021 grant recipients are Evelyn from the Internets, The Grapevine, Jade Fox, Kelly Stamps, Kev on Stage, and Terrell. And those are just a few of the names that I'm familiar with, that I actually watch their videos heavily and subscribe to their channels. Brittany, are you familiar with any of these YouTubers, or have you seen the list and familiar with anyone on there?
Good question. I am familiar with Evelyn on the internets. I know that's her name. Kev on Stage. I'm not a big YouTube watcher. Like, I will occasionally go down a YouTube rabbit hole, but as far as like watching it for YouTube, for content, I am still very much a TV watcher, a film watcher. I'm not a YouTube girl. But I do think this is a good look. I mean, original content is always great. I like that it's catered to Black voices, but I think let me say this. I think YouTube and Google does a good job of being diverse, or having resources open to those who make money or generate money for them, like YouTubers. I know specifically they have those YouTube studios all over the country, and they're free for YouTubers, but it's only if you have like a certain subscriber amount. So they get to go to these studios and record in them, and they have a kitchen set up. They can do whatever setup is available for you, and it's professional equipment. I mean, just to add to that, and then for those creators to have access to the studio and then be able to get this grant, I think is a huge opportunity. But I will say this, I don't want to just see Black voices. America is diverse. So I can't help but to wonder how other racial groups feel. But I ain't talking about white people. I'm talking about other people of color feel when they see these huge grant announcements and initiatives specifically targeted at the Black community. Now, it's been a long time coming for us, and I'm not saying that we don't deserve everything that people are trying to throw our way, right? But I want to see more diverse people. Show me somebody from the Latin, the Spanish community. Show me somebody who is Indian or Desi or something, or Asian. I don't know. Am I making sense? I know that like once Black people thrive, then all these other cultures can also thrive. But I mean, I want to see other stuff.
I agree. No, I absolutely agree, because one of the shows that I have become a fan of recently is Fresh Off the Boat, which is on, I believe, ABC. It's a great series that I love to watch, and I love the fact that I'm able to see an Asian American family who were immigrants, or his family were immigrants that came over, and kind of hear that story, as well as Indian stories I've seen. And I also love, I believe it's called Gentrified, but I think it's in Spanish on Netflix. But that's a Hispanic story that's being told about the gentrification happening in LA. I love stories from other cultures because I get to learn about them as well, and what the things that they're going through, and how we have similarities, and how we can connect and just learn from other people. So I absolutely agree with that sentiment of, I hope that they also expand this to other cultures and other minorities within the diaspora within the United States, because we are a melting pot and we need to be able to elevate and show that as well. as support, yeah, other Black creators too. So
Let me ask you this. I didn't see the list, and it said that they were going to, have people pulled from a variety of genres. Are there any people on there who are like tech or science based? Because do we really need more? No tea, no shade to Kev on stage, right? But do we need more of those? Do we need more other internets? I mean, I hate to sound shady. I'm not trying to be shady.
no, I agree, because I did think Kev on stage is kind of a force to be reckoned with. He's kind of he did that stuff on his own. He's kind of up there, and I don't feel that his kind of it's kudos to him, because he's been able to get a high stature on YouTube and like do that all by himself. That's kind of like belief in fatherhood. I think that I didn't see his name on the list either, but I feel that they're like very similar in their content that they've created. So I don't expect to see him on that list. I thought I would see people that I was not familiar with. There are other people on there, but I think they have a pretty high following. Some of these people that I have been on YouTube for a very long time, they're not small creators. So these are people that I believe who already have a name for themselves, and they're just going to push them further. And I also can say I'm not surprised at the people who are on this list, because they have been coming up in my suggestions a lot more lately than ever before. So I have noticed that. So I see them pushing them maybe further into the algorithm to be able to be seen more by more people. I think that's what's going on. So I will say that.
Okay.
And no, also to answer your question, I did not see a lot of tech people. There's one guy called Marquise. I think he's really big in tech, but he doesn't need any help, because Marquise is like he's bigger than any other people that I like, not bigger than, but his platform is like 20 million plus subscribers. Young brother who reviews tech. He's amazing. And yeah, I don't think I saw anybody from science either. So hopefully they'll tap into that.
Sorry, I'm digressing. I've had a margarita too.
Oh, nice. I wish I could. I'll join you in 3 more months. All right, guys, my last headline is an exclusive that came from The Hollywood Reporter, and it states that Netflix partners with Dr. X Kendi for 3 projects based on his books. Now, I was not familiar with Dr. Ibram Kendi either, but I wanted to give you guys a background on him and what he's done. He's an American author, professor, and anti-racist activist, and historian of race and discriminatory policies in America. The article states that Dr. Kendi will collaborate with film and TV vet Roger Ross Williams, known for his documentaries, Mara Brock Akil, who is known for her series work on The Game and Girlfriends, etc. The list goes on, and Chris Nee, who is known for her animation for Dr. McStuffins. And they will be adapting his bestseller books, Stamped from the Beginning, Stamped Racism, Anti-Racism, and You, and his last book, Anti-Racist Baby. So how they will be breaking these books up: for the first book, Stamped from the Beginning, this book traces the roots and evolution of racist concepts in the United States in order to better understand today's society, which isn't as post-racial as some may believe. This book will be a hybrid of a documentary/script feature based on his book, Stamped from the Beginning, The Definition History of Racist Ideas in America. Roger Ross Williams will direct and produce this feature, and Mara Brock Akil will serve as executive producer. For his next book, Stamped Racism, Anti-Racism, and You, according to Williams, this book outlines how deeply rooted racist ideas are in the United States, under the notion that the only thing wrong with Black people is that they think something is wrong with Black people, and encourage everyone to fight for a more equipped society. The film will be aimed at young adults, a YA audience, young adult audience, and will be a documentary that will serve as a companion to Stand From the Beginning that explains racism in America, in hopes of learning how not to recounter it. Roger Ross Williams will be the director and producer of this, and with Dr. Kendi serving as executive producer. His last book, Anti-Racist Baby, is a children's book that will be turned into a series of musical animation shorts that focus on the 9 steps within the book. And Dr. Kendi will serve as executive producer, and Chris Nee, who is an animator, will serve as the animator for this particular series. Have you heard of Dr. Kendi?
I have not heard of him. I have not heard of these books, and yeah.
Okay. So me neither. I haven't heard of him as well, but he came to, I guess, notable fame after the Black Lives Matter movement this past summer. And I guess his books just flew off the shelves, and more and more people became known of him. And this really reminds me of, and I feel that Netflix picked this up because of the success that HBO had with Lovecraft Country. Because it's giving me those vibes in a sense of kind of telling the story of African Americans, racial injustices, and also combining current day events. Well, no. I would guess the documentary and series.
Is this his stuff is fictional or?
Well, no, it's not fictional.
Okay.
Well, that's a good question.
Girl, we don't know nothing about Dr. Ibram.
You know, I'm just going to leave it at that and cut that, because I really don't. I have no freaking clue.
I ain't never heard of this man. Sorry to this man. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't know him. I can't even comment on this.
Yeah. But hey, he's doing amazing things with Mara Brock Akil and Roger Ross Williams, and we will see his stuff when it drops on Netflix. How about that?
That's it. Okay.
And that is it for Industry Rundown.